Okay, let's talk about something we've probably all been through. You've had one of those days, right? A deadline is breathing down your neck, and suddenly you find your hand at the bottom of a bag of chips. We all call it stress eating, but what if I told you it's not really about willpower? Turns out it's a super old biological program, and we're about to get into exactly how it all works.
So that's the big question, isn't it? Why, when we're stressed, do our brains scream for pizza and not, a salad? Well, the answer is a pretty amazing story about survival, hormones, and a really surprising twist in our body's whole emergency response system.
All right, to really get this, we've got to go way back. Think about it. Our bodies are basically running on ancient software. I'm talking about a survival program that was designed for a world of immediate physical threats, not a world of spreadsheets and looming deadlines.
Okay, so deep inside your brain, there's this command center called the HPA axis. The easiest way to think about it is like your body's own internal emergency broadcast system. The second it detects a threat, any threat, it just floods your system with hormones to get you ready for action.
And this is where it gets really interesting. It turns out your body has two completely different ways of responding to stress. It all depends on whether it's, say, a sudden shock or more of a long, slow burn.
So let's break this down. In a moment of sudden, acute danger, like you almost get hit by a car, your brain releases a hormone called CRH. And what CRH does is it basically kills your appetite. It's your body saying, hey, no time to eat, we gotta survive. But when that stress is chronic, the ongoing kind, a totally different set of hormones called glucocorticoids take over. And their message is the exact opposite. It's, well, we're burning through a ton of energy here, we need to refuel and fast.
And there's the problem right there. Our modern psychological stressors, they trigger that refuel signal. But we're not physically running from a predator. We're sitting at a desk. So your body is just screaming for high-energy foods to replace all this energy that you never actually burned.
And this is way more than just a simple craving. What we're looking at here is the beginning of a really powerful, self-reinforcing cycle. Something your brain can actually get hooked on.
Okay, this feedback loop is absolutely the key to understanding this whole thing. So your chronic stress kicks in, and that triggers a craving for junk food. You eat it, and what happens? For a minute, the stress actually subsides. It feels better. And your brain learns this incredibly simple but powerful lesson. Feeling stressed? This food is the answer. Every time you do it, that cycle just gets stronger and stronger.
And I want to be clear, this isn't just in your head. This is real biology. As researchers from Frontiers in Psychology found, that ice cream binge, it's a coping mechanism that, chemically speaking, actually works, at least for a little while.
All right, let's peel back another layer. Let's go even deeper. There's a direct chemical link between what you're eating and how you're feeling. And believe it or not, it all starts with one single essential amino acid.
So, let me introduce you to tryptophan. It's what's called an essential amino acid, which means you have to get it from your diet. And why is it so important? Well, it's the one and only crucial building block for serotonin. The famous feel-good chemical in your brain.
And serotonin itself is an absolute superstar neurotransmitter. It's involved in so much, regulating your mood, your ability to handle stress, and here's the critical part for our story, your ability to control your food intake and actually feel full.
Okay, so here's where all the pieces start to click into place. That chronic stress we've been talking about, it can actually deplete your brain's serotonin levels. And the result of that is this awful double whammy. You get a low mood and an appetite that's suddenly out of control.
And check this out. A recent study with mice shows just how powerful this chemical connection really is. They took stressed mice that were binge eating and they gave them a tryptophan supplement. And what happened? Their food intake went right back to normal. Just by restoring the building block for serotonin, they were able to break that stress-eating cycle. It's pretty amazing.
But what if this goes back even further? What if this isn't just about the stress you're feeling today? What if your entire tendency to stress eat was actually programmed into your brain from the very first days of your life?
Take a look at this. What this diagram is showing us is something pretty profound. The idea is that stress, really early in life, can physically and permanently change your brain's circuits. It's literally creating a lifelong blueprint for how you're going to respond to both stress and food.
So what does that early life programming actually look like in an adult? Well, it can mean a lifelong hypersensitivity to stress. It can mean that your brain's reward pathways are altered, making you more susceptible to addiction. And, you guessed it, a powerful, deep-seated preference for sugary, fatty, high-calorie foods. It's like your brain is wired to make the most of every feeding opportunity.
And all of this, it brings us to a really big, thought-provoking question, doesn't it? If our personal blueprint for stress and eating is drawn so incredibly early in life, how much can we really hope to rewrite those plans? Understanding the science behind it all is a huge first step. But what comes next? Well, that's up to us to figure out.